Hey guys and girls, it's Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We have the Jazz Bass parts build on the bench. We're getting ready to drill some holes and put this thing together. I think we're going to make music with it today. Let's get to work. Remember, if you dig what I'm doing, like and subscribe. Thank you for all your support. This thing is coming along at a rapid pace. Today we are drilling in. The previous video we installed the pickups, we got the bridge on, we put the machine heads for the tuners. Neck's been on there for a couple of days now. From the mock-up, we painted the control cover black. I like that. I think it looks better. It looks sharper. Of course, I put a little scratch on it already, but it's already got its first piece of character. So what we do is we get this placed, and you got to kind of be careful because once you drill these, that's it. You're in the wood. You'll be filling in holes that you don't want to. Make sure that your control plate and your pick guard mate up nicely, that nothing is sitting on top and there's no huge gaps. They should mate relatively smoothly. Once that happens, you get it, you're confident you have it where you want it. Sharpie, bing, bing, bing. I only put a few of the pick guard holes. I'm going to drill them in first, and then I'm going to refit this before I drill it and make sure exactly. So what we're going to do is just drill a couple of these. Get a piece of glue there. So you see here, some of these over here you can't see very well. There's one. Yeah, they're really hard to see. There's one. We may have to do these up here in the brown part, the black part, with the pick guard on. I don't like to do that, but we can. It's okay. So don't be afraid. Be confident in what you do and make sure you can see your work well. Those dots are right in the middle of these holes. So by theory, if we get right in the middle of those holes, our screws should go right where we want them. These are just pilot holes. Don't go too far. Don't go crazy. Two there. Let's put one in here. Those screws are very short, so you don't have to go really far with it. I thought I put one up here. I did. I want one up here. It's hard to see in that black. That should be enough to hold the pick guard temporarily while we make sure that we get our control plate exactly where we want it. 1, 2, 3. Maybe one up there too. Should be one there. I must have had my finger there. 3, 4. That's enough for now, just to get it in position so that we can get the control cover where it needs to be. That is looking really nice. Somebody keeps buzzing me. It never fails when I get to doing something like this. It's critical that my attention doesn't get drawn away. My phone starts to buzz. And these are the exact right kind of screws that are supposed to be for a Fender pickguard. And they're beveled so that they will pull it up snug where you put it. Let's put one in right up there. And that should be enough to hold it for now. So I really want to mate up the control plate as well. Sorry about my head. But this is kind of got to look right at it. One more there, I guess, for good measure. Yeah. All right, you come here. Now, if I did this right, which it looks like we did, excuse me. That couldn't be more perfect. I love it. Stand by while I drill these holes, and I'm going to drill the rest of these, and then we'll screw everything together. Just stand by for a moment. So, really quickly, we drilled the rest of the holes. I'm not going to put all these in, but I wanted to put this, I drilled the rest of the holes to put these screws in for the pickguard. But the reason I'm not going to put them all in is because I just got to take them all back out again. But the main thing is that you put a couple of them in to hold this in place. Once you're 100% sure you have it where you want it, and then place your control plate so that you have a really good seam right here and there's no reveal where you can see through. It should be nice and snug, and that's it. We're good with that. Now, the next step is we've got to take that all off because we're going to soldering these in, string it, tune it, set it up, and play it. So stand by while I take this all off again. I know it's a lot of, starting and stopping, but I want to make this the last video today. I want to get, if I can, I want to get these soldered up. Remember, we already have our ground wire in. I want to get these soldered up, which shouldn't take too long, and then we're going to string it. And this thing's going to be thumping before too long. One thing we want to do is, I'm going to pause and go get a straight edge. I forgot. We want a straight edge across here and make sure that we get these sort of set. It should just kiss there, so stand by. I wanted to show that exercise. Yeah, I forgot to show this before when we mounted this and had the neck on and mounted the bridge. You want to take a straight edge, and be careful, you don't need to mar up your frets. It's got to be long enough that it has to be a perfect straight edge. This is my square. When you run down the center or any part of the neck, it should just kiss your saddle, and it is just barely touching. That doesn't mean your saddles are set at the proper string height. We won't know that until we get the strings on and start doing a setup on it. But that's where you want to be, and I can already tell that I guessed pretty good at where the pickup height is. But that's critical too. Now, on this build, it wouldn't have been. I would have been extremely surprised and dejected if that measurement didn't work out right. If that was way too high or way too low, I would have been surprised. This is Fender going into a Fender neck, into a Fender body with all Fender parts. So they're really good about knowing how to, depths, and their measurements are precise as much as it can be in wood. But that's critical, making sure that your neck angle, and what you're doing here basically is you're checking your neck angle to make sure that you're going to have enough up or down movement on these. It should just come across there and kiss the top of your saddles, and it does, so that's good. So the next phase is I'm going to unscrew this stuff and we're going to get ready to solder, so stand by. So while I had you on pause, we were soldering. We got the pickup soldered in, the ground wire soldered in, and success. So beautiful. That's exactly what we want. That's just a quick test before we button everything up. So now we are going to screw it all together and straight. Yeah, fella. So let's get our pick guard back up here. A couple screws in that. And I'm not going to bore you with this gory detail because this is going to take a few minutes, especially when I drop the screws all over the place. Sorry. We're going to button all this up and then we're going to come back and restring it, so stand by. Alright kids, we're in the home stretch. I know we did a lot in a short amount of time here because I kept pausing, but I want to make sure there's a little time left to do the setup on this video and play it. So we got the last string going in, and so far this string's a little short for my liking. Put the whole string on. As long as we get at least 2 wraps, which we will. And I can tell you all the time and care we took to make sure that we positioned these pickups so that the strings go right across the middle and split the pole pieces. Dead on. And that is critical. I am a nut about that stuff. It's only going to make this instrument sound better later on. You know, and that is a lifetime adjustment. That's where they're going to live. Alright, strings are installed. Now we're going to take some measurements, as we usually do. Now who's calling me? My goodness, they won't leave me alone today. Buzz, buzz, buzz. I'm sure the microphone's picking up on my buzz, buzz, buzz. But I can't answer right now. We have work to do. Let's just see where we're at. Believe it or not, that neck is right where I left it before. We may have to tighten it up slightly once we get it tuned. Let's tune it up to pitch. See what it says. The strings are really low. I can see that already. Tuner on, volume up. I have a feeling we're going to need to adjust the neck relief, but that's to be expected. I would be surprised if it had stayed where. Oh yeah, because we weren't even at pitch, so now there's a lot more string tension. For sure we're going to have to take some of the relief out of that. brand new strings. They're going to stretch it as if we're starting with a brand new setup on this guitar, but I can already tell we're super low there. Yeah, but not as low as you would think. Actually, the G is right where I would set it. So let's take a look at this neck relief one more time, because I have a feeling we're going to need to get in there and tighten it up slightly now that we have some string tension on it. Yeah, it's a little loose. I wonder what it looks like. Yeah, we need to tighten it up slightly. Now, if I'm not mistaken, is it 3/16 on this guy? I believe so. Yeah. Just going to tighten it up a bit and take some of that relief out. And it's going to want more than that. And this is an adjustment that's going to have to be made probably on and off for the next couple of days, because this neck was sitting around for a little while. Adjust my camera slightly. So once that gets settled, plus it's really cool and dry here in Florida right at the moment. So this is the only thing that's going to need to be adjusted periodically over the next couple of weeks. Oh, I went too far. Yeah, went too far. Okay, well, I got overzealous. I broke my own rule. Just slightly some out. Remember, right as you're facing the truss rod adjustment, whether it's here or whether it's down here, as you're facing it, right is tight. That's going to put back bow in it, and the left is loose. That's going to put relief in it. And adjust, measure, until you get it to where you're at 12 thousandths at the 7th fret, which is right where we're at now. And I will check that periodically over the course of the next several days. I'm sure that's going to be fine for our purposes right now of setup. Now I know that we're going to need to probably bring our string height up. Let's check it one more time. Yeah, we're low. Because we straightened the neck, we made it even as if the string height is lower. Let's see, straight. So I'm going to raise everything up slightly, except for the G string seems to be wanting to be where it's at. And remember, equal increments on both sides of the saddle. And once you get done making an adjustment to it, make sure that they're all level. Like this one right here is slightly lower. You want them level to the deck of the guitar. They will be different heights, that's okay, but you want them level. You don't want them tilting one way or the other. So it needs to come up just a bit, and I'm going to bring up that just slightly. Let's take that measurement and see. You guys have all seen this exercise before. This is a setup. This is what we're checking now. still want to bring up the A and the D slightly. The E, 5/64. A, 5/64. D, 5/64. And the G, 5/64. That's a standard setting for a J bass. That's a standard setting for almost any guitar. Some, within reason, will go down below that, but that's where I always start. Now, if I was doing a Les Paul, I would definitely start lower. If it's a Tune-o-matic bridge, you know, every guitar is a little bit different, but that's a good standard setting. You can set almost any guitar on the planet to that setting, and it'll play fine. Now, different players are going to say, I want my action lower or I want it higher, depending on what style that they are and how their playing habits are. Let's get it tuned to pitch one more time. And then we're going to stretch the strings. Tune it again, and then we're going to plug it in and see what it sounds like. Yeah. Well, I want to check the intonation too, because I don't think that intonation on this bridge has ever been set for a J bass. That could be a little off. Oh my God, dead on. That one's slightly low, not even a half a cent. Oops. That one's a little low. We got to adjust that one. That's a little flat, so I'm going to say that probably needs to be closer. Intonation, it's a lottery. Perfect. I'm going to say that's pretty good. I don't know what she's going to sound like in her maiden voyage. Let's see if I can get in the video. I'm sure the mic is not picking up well on that. That is a nice sounding little guitar. I'm going to call that a success. Very punchy. The pickups are not as hot as my quarter pounder Seymour Duncans, but you know what? The customer at a later date, if he decides he wants to hot rod the guitar, then we'll go in that direction. But this thing is done, and it's playing music, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there and following along every step of the way that we did with this guitar. I took you from making a list, building a parts inventory, lining everything up, tick off your list, do your mock-ups, bolt your neck, get your body and your neck mated, mock up all your electronics, solder it together, and make it play music. We just did a quick setup on it. I'm going to check it over the course of the next several days. Because it's a new guitar, it's going to sell a little bit, but success. My customer is going to be very happy with this guitar, I'm sure, and it's going to play the music for many, many, many years to come. Blackjack with 396 Guitars. We'll talk soon.